An overnight military raid ends with U.S. forces capturing Venezuela's president.
America is a safer nation. This morning,
there is zero legal rationale for waging war.
Some Americans across the country reacting with outrage, while others celebrate what this could mean for the South American country.
See all the worker was crying and hugged me.
That's not our right to intervene in foreign countries like that.
Tonight, we take a closer look at the federal government's case against President Nicolas Maduro following this unprecedented action by the U.S. military. And thanks so much for joining us here at 11. I'm John Adams. For the first time in decades, the United States went into another country to remove its leader from power. American troops struck military targets inside Venezuela and captured that country's authoritarian leader, Nicolas Maduro, along with his wife. Maduro is now in New York to stand trial. President Trump declared today that the U.S. will now run Venezuela in a transition period.
We're going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition. So we don't want to be involved with having somebody else get in, and we have the same situation that we had for the last long period of years.
The Trump administration today also threatening other countries in the region. One of those countries, Colombia. Tanks seen lining up near Colombia's border with Venezuela amid heightened security. The administration also called out Cuba. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, a Cuban American, accused the country of propping up the Maduro regime.
Look, if I lived in Havana and I was in the government, I'd be concerned, at least.
Cuba's leader responded to the strikes in Venezuela today, calling them an act of state terrorism. Anti-war protests were held in more than 75 cities today to rally against the attack in Venezuela and the capture of their president. That includes outside the United States and in New York's Times Square. Many of them shared their outrage, saying President Trump ordered an invasion of Venezuela because of its oil reserves. Some Americans are celebrating the capture, saying the ousting of Maduro is the first step toward a free and democratic Venezuela. The U.S. and many other countries across the globe viewed Maduro as an illegitimate president who stole an election.
The last thing you lose is faith, and people have held on to the faith and hope that we were going to have a Venezuela that's free. It came today. So the last thing you lose is hope. You always have to have just a positive mindset and just believe in God. And things happen at the right time when they're supposed to happen. And today, as a community, we're able to celebrate this beautiful thing that has happened.
Here locally, there were several protests held in opposition to this action by the U.S. government. Our Jake Holter spoke to demonstrators over their thoughts on the capture.
You know, we're not going to stand for this. We're not going to stand for U.S. intervention.
Protests popping up across downtown Portland Saturday after the U.S. military captured Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro overnight.
It's just hard to believe that he would invade another country, capture the president, take them out.
Peter Parks out protesting with a personal connection.
My wife and I were in Venezuela like in 2004. We've talked to a lot of Venezuelan people. We've visited different workplaces, and I cannot agree with Trump's and his administration's analysis of what's going on there.
This is exactly the sort of international intervention that Trump campaigned against.
Democratic Senator Jeff Merkley experiencing some uncomfortable deja vu.
There are parallels that should haunt us to the action in Iraq. In Iraq, it was weapons of mass destruction, which was a cover story fed to the American people. In this case, the cover story was interdicting drugs.
Merkley claims it's actually about resources.
This is about oil. Venezuela has the largest oil reserves in the world.
President Trump making multiple references to Venezuela's oil in his address Saturday morning.
We're going to have our very large United States oil companies, the biggest anywhere in the world, go in, spend billions of dollars, fix the badly broken infrastructure, the oil infrastructure, and start making money for the country.
Senator Patty Murray from Washington took to X to write, quote, "It is outrageous for a president who is tanking our economy here at home to suggest that the American taxpayer spend a fortune to, quote, run another country while doing nothing to make life better in America."
The amount of people being out here on such a dime like this shows just how unpopular actions like these are, how much the U.S. people do not want war.
Jake Holter, KGW News.
It's important to note the U.S. has been building its case against Maduro for years. A federal grand jury indicted Maduro and his wife on charges of narco-terrorism and importing cocaine back in 2020. The Department of Justice says it is now preparing to make its case in court. NBC's Hallie Jackson has that part of the story.
Nicolas Maduro, now in New York, set to face prosecution, accused of leading a, quote, corrupt, illegitimate government that for decades has leveraged government power to protect and promote illegal activity, including drug trafficking.
He is a fugitive of American justice.
The indictment detailing Maduro's alleged narco-terrorism, accusing him of partnering with cartels in a massive cocaine trafficking operation, claiming he and his wife ordered kidnappings, beatings, and murders against those who owed them drug money or otherwise undermined them. Now, Attorney General Pam Bondi says Maduro will soon face the full wrath of American justice on American soil in American courts. The case against him to be brought in the Southern District of New York, where Maduro was first indicted in 2020 and where Barrett Berger formerly worked as a federal prosecutor.
My guess is this is a case that is based largely on cooperator information. You can't really bring charges like this against somebody so high up, like the president, unless you have insiders.
Maduro became president of Venezuela following the death of Hugo Chavez in 2013, holding on to power despite multiple elections in which he was accused of manipulating and ignoring results. His tenure marked by widespread poverty, massive protests in the streets, and drug gang violence.
He personally oversaw the vicious cartel known as Cartel de las Solas, which flooded our nation with lethal poison, responsible for the deaths of countless Americans.
His capture and removal now potentially to become a central point of any trial against him.
The bigger question is, are we allowed to basically invade other countries in order to capture people who have been indicted under U.S. law? And I think the answer to that is quite clearly no.
You can stay up to date on this story and find all of the statements by our regional lawmakers by visiting our website, kgw.com. You can also stream us on your own schedule through our streaming app, KGW+. Time to talk weather and take a live look outside right now, where we've been seeing some heavy showers over the last few hours. Meteorologist Joe Ranieri is here to let us know how wet things will be on Sunday. Joe.
Hey there. Good afternoon, John. Good evening, I should say. Well, we are going to be looking at mainly dry conditions right around sunrise tomorrow morning. It'll stay dry a good portion of the morning, and then right around midday is when we'll be seeing another round of rain showers move through. When we first talked earlier in the evening shows around 5 o'clock, we saw under 1/10 of an inch of rain. So these are basically numbers that have fallen since the dinner hour. We're closing on close to 1/4 of an inch of rain throughout much of the metro area, basically since about 3, 4 o'clock this afternoon or so. This is one of the lows that's going to be moving through, bringing in more widespread showers for your Sunday. Again, you travel over the mountain passes, you're not going to have any major issues. You can be looking at maybe 2 inches of new snow, but there will be some pockets of freezing rain out there at times tomorrow and into the afternoon. We're dry for the time being. We'll see some rain showers pick up here the next couple of hours, and really after midnight, the rain will pick up. So here's a look just right around 5:30 tomorrow morning. We're pretty much dry throughout the metro area, and as we put this into motion, you can see even dry throughout a good portion of the morning, and then by late morning, early part of the afternoon, we'll be seeing some rain. Also kind of seeing some stormy conditions along the Oregon coast. I'll talk more about that in my detailed forecast.
All right, Joe, thanks so much. We'll see you later. Vancouver police are investigating a deadly overnight shooting. It happened just before 1 o'clock outside of the Off-Ramp Sports Bar on Northeast 112th Avenue. Witnesses told police 2 men got into an argument which led to shots being fired. Officers arrived to find the body of a 43-year-old man. The suspect had already fled the scene. Vancouver police say they do not believe there is a threat to the public. One person is dead after a crash in Beaverton. Just after 2:15 this morning, Portland police say officers tried to stop a car on Northwest 11th Avenue in Burnside after it was seen driving recklessly. Police say the driver pulled over at first but took off as police were calling in extra help. After some pursuit, officers found the car had crashed. on Southwest Barnes Road and Valeria View Drive. The driver was found dead inside. Police say no other vehicles were involved. And new tonight, also out of Beaverton, police are looking for the driver of this car. At around 8:30 on December 23rd, they crashed into a TriMet bus, then left the scene. It happened on Southwest Beaverton Hillsdale Highway at Highway 217. If you know anything about this car or the driver, reach out to Beaverton Police.